Hello everyone, this is part 12 of What If Naruto Was Iron Man, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Naruto slumped onto his cot in the room he had been given on board the ship face down. He closed his eyes when he felt a pair of hands begin to rub his back, and he blinked and looked back and saw Eva sitting on his back as she rubbed his back, and he blinked again as he felt a draft and he asked, "What the hell?" Eva smiled softly to him and said, "I learned a jutsu myself from Leela. That late for a date no jutsu is great for these kind of situations." Naruto moaned as she pressed hard into one spot on his back, and he asked in a tired and pained voice, "What kind of situations?" Eva leaned down and kissed his lips lightly and said, "I am a woman, Naruto, and there are times we say things and mean others. I did what I thought was best to keep you from becoming something you're not, and I've watched you all this time try to make your life better, but I have never once stopped loving you. It hurts me to see you go through so much pain and suffering, so I am helping the man I love feel better the only way I know how to. Now just relax." As she continued to rub his back, easing all the pain and frustration out of him until he passed out in a blissful night's sleep. When Naruto awoke, he found Eva laying beside him in his arms asleep, and he thought, "How?" Eva slowly opened her eyes hearing his thoughts and smiled softly and said, "Surprise." Naruto nods and Eva said, "This is something I've been working on for a while. Remember the idea we had for the future of our family? Where I would become the godmother to them. I've spent countless hours since then working on it when I had free time, and though it's not perfect, I created something similar to the remote ball, but it's got a lot more chakra in it than that ball does." Naruto asked, "But why didn't I feel the drain from it?" Eva said, "Because the energy for this doesn't come from you, at least not anymore. Do you know why the power core is inside of you, Naruto?" Naruto shook his head no, and Eva said, "Because it was never supposed to be used on a human. It was originally designed to where it could be hooked up to electric to test the suit out and without an operator, which is why I have remote access to the suit. It was only a prototype originally for future models to be made off of." Naruto said, "So the power core is just an adapter basically?" Eva said, "Yes, and all it took was a simple change by my creator to change it form, accepting electricity as the main power unit to chakra. That simple change is why I am here now. I scanned a seal in the book my creator gave you that turns chakra into energy, and having the knowledge of what my creator did to change energy into chakra also helped. I have also found seals that increase the amount of energy like a transformer for powering more powerful things like the crane on the bridge. Remember when you helped to repair it, the seal that we found on the battery?" Naruto thought, "Yeah, I remember that." Eva said, "Because of all this I was able to take a small amount of chakra and convert it into energy, and then I added the seal that increases the amount of energy created, and then I simply reversed the property of the seal that changes chakra to energy, so it would change energy into chakra, and add it into the storage seal to a special ball that I created from the armor, and here I am. It's a little more complicated than that because I had to take chakra from the storage seal and reinsert it back into the first seal that converted it to energy, but basically this is self-sustaining as long as I have time to recharge it without completely depleting what is stored in the storage seal, so it is completely independent of you at this point, so I can have my own body when I want, though it's still only a Kajbunshin body, but maybe someday it can be more." Naruto said, "But won't you just dispel if hit too hard like normal Kajbunshins?" Eva smiled and said, "You're so cute when you're worried. I added some of Kyuubi chakra, also making the chakra a little stronger than it normally would be, only a little but enough that it makes this body last longer." And, as she took his hand and placed it over her heart, and Naruto said, "Warmth, and that feels like a heartbeat." Eva said, "I still filter Kyuubi chakra, but not as much as the power core does for you, so it gives my body a little warmth like a regular person instead of the coldness that a regular Kajbunshin has. As for the heartbeat, it's the chakra flowing through me and around me." So, as she leaned forward and kissed him, and Naruto's eyes got wide as he returned the kiss, slowly at first and then a little rougher, and he hissed as Eva ran her nails across his back, and she smiled and said, "For now you're all mine." As she pushed him onto his back and kissed his lips, and they laid together with just passionate kissing and holding of each other. When the ship was a few hours from docking in Wave, Naruto was laying with Eva in his arms and thought, "Even though we didn't have sex, it was wonderful to hold her in my arms." Eva smiled and opened her eyes and said, "It's nice to know you care for me so much. I don't want to take the chance of dispelling, so that is why we didn't go further. I am content with holding you like I did though. Naruto smiled and said, so am I. Eva said, but you have others who will take the spot I have as well. When you're with them, things will still be the way they were, but when we are alone and you need someone to hold, I will be there. Don't worry about Tsunami either. I'll talk to her for you and tell her about Leela and make her understand. As she kissed him on the lips and disappeared, and Naruto saw a little red locket shaped like a heart with a red chain, and he smiled and picked it up and asked, where does this go? Eva said, where do you think it goes with a shape like that? This isn't for battle. Naruto slips the chain over his head and puts the locket in his shirt and thought, that better. Eva said, yes love. Now go get ready to see your family. Naruto nods and gets up and got dressed before he left his cabin. When he got up on the deck, he saw Kakashi and Jiraiya standing looking out to sea, and he took a deep breath and walked over and said, Kakashi, are you ready to do what I requested as payment? Kakashi looked at Naruto and said, what was it you wanted again? I want to make sure I honor my debt. Naruto said, 10 Suten Jutsu that I do not already know, as well as any snow jutsu that you copied from the ninja of Snow Country, as well as any information you can give me on them. Kakashi asked, how do you know I've been to Snow Country? Naruto said, I've been approached by former residents of Snow Country who have asked me to help track down the princess and help restore her as rightful ruler of Snow Country. They informed me that you were the one who rescued the princess from the land of snow, but nobody knows what happened to her after that. I have already been paid for my assistance in doing this, and I gave my word I would do all I can, so I need to know about the people I will be dealing with and what to expect. Kakashi said, so you're planning to start a war with Snow Country? As he eyed Naruto carefully. Naruto said, no. All I am doing right now is learning what kind of people I will be dealing with, so I could make the wisest decision at that time to keep my promise and not cost senseless deaths. Kakashi thought a moment and said, well, there is not much I can tell you about them. When I went there, the king was dead and the castle was on fire. I ran into some samurai guards who were protecting the princess, and they asked me to get her to safety while they held off the attacking force. I fought one snow nin, but he was tackled to the ground after a few seconds, and I took the princess and escaped, so I didn't actually get any ninjutsu from them, so I can't pay you that part. Naruto frowned and said, very well. I was hoping you had a couple of ice jutsu that you copied to aid me with my bloodline, but it looks like I'm on my own. With a frown. Kakashi said, well, what Suten Jutsu do you know? Naruto said, Hidden Mist no Jutsu, Mizubunshin no Jutsu, Water Whip no Jutsu, Water Dragon Jutsu, and Crushing Tidal Wave no Jutsu. I know Whirlpool no Jutsu, but I don't have the control to actually do that jutsu yet. Kakashi asked, what chakra control exercises do you know? Maybe I can teach you one that you don't know. Naruto thought a moment and said, tree walking, water walking, sand walking, leaf balancing, kunai balancing, combining them, meditation, but I've only gotten one entire side calmed down and my other leg, so I still am working on that. I use Kijbunshians with all my training as well, so that increases the control I gain. Then there is my water manipulations exercises I am doing. I'm to the point where I stand under a waterfall on top of the river and stay dry while pushing the water back up. It's still difficult, but I am getting better. So far I can only do it for 2 minutes before I lose the control and get soaked. Then I have my wind manipulation exercises also. I've cut stones, leaves, trees, steel, glass, and water. I've sat on top of different objects and charted the wind flowing around me and changing their course, so according to where I got the info on how to do them. I am on Junin level elemental manipulation. Damn furball. As he looked out to sea and thought, there's home. About another hour. Jiraiya and Kakashi were both shocked, and Jiraiya asked, where did you get all the info on how to do all those exercises? I mean, almost nobody knows all of those. Naruto shrugged and said, here and there. I got about 60 wind jutsu in my arsenal, but I don't use them that often because wind is my primary element and I have a minor water. The fox chakra is a fire element and it strengthens my wind for some reason and weakens my water, so my bloodline is actually weakened by how equal my wind and water elemental control is. If I have 30% control of wind element and 3% of water element, I can only use 2% of my bloodline because of the fox chakra, which is why I focus on water for right now. Kakashi said, I'm impressed. Who's been training you? Naruto said, no one. I've never actually had any sensei for anything. Jiraiya asked, have you thought about learning fire jutsu to use with the fox chakra, and have you tried to use it at all? I mean, it would be a big help if you learned to harness it. Naruto said, sorry, I don't trust you enough to tell you anything else about the fox's chakra or what I do or don't do with it. I only told you about it weakening my bloodline so that way you don't try and pressure me into learning wind jutsu that I already got taken care of. I've taken to doing things my own way to keep me unpredictable and harder to defeat. Both men nod and Kakashi said, well, I got Tensuten jutsu for you to learn. We will work on the exploding shock wave no jutsu first. Now to do this. Naruto said, if you don't mind, can you just do the hand sign slowly a few times without molding chakra and then demonstrate it once? I learned by figuring out the way the jutsu works on my own, makes it easier to use and cost me less chakra to do it. Kakashi blinked and said, all right, that will work. As he demonstrated the hand signs and Naruto repeated them a few times, and after Kakashi demonstrated it out on the ocean, Naruto said, all right, show me the next one. Jiraiya said, you're not even going to try it now. Naruto said, Kichibunshin Ero Sanin. If I memorize the hand signs for all 10 and then create my Kichibunshin, I can organize them into groups to work on one jutsu at a time each and go from there. That way I could get an entire day's worth of training on each jutsu in only a few hours. Kakashi said, that gives you a real advantage on training, but the mental backlash is dangerous. Naruto said, I've got that covered, so what's the next jutsu? Kakashi frowned and he began to show Naruto the Tensuten jutsu he chose. When they reached Wave, a man with a captain's hat walked to the boarding ramp and said, I trust your trip was enjoyable, sir, as he shook hands with Naruto. Naruto said, yes, Captain. Very enjoyable, and thank you for waiting for my business in water country to be over. I will see to it that you are compensated accordingly. The captain said, you already have, sir, with the new contract you gave us as well as the freeing us from Gato, sir. It is truly an honor to do business with you. Naruto said, well, thanks again. I must be going now. The captain said, good day to you then, sir, as he bowed, and Naruto nods and walked off the ship and saw Jiraiya, Kakashi and the Mist Nins all on the docks already. Naruto walked toward them and said, follow me please, as he led him away from the dock and then took to the trees with the others following, and 10 minutes later they came to the site of the village in Wave, and Naruto landed on the ground and several people saw him and several kids screamed, Naruto, you're back, as they ran toward him excited. Naruto said, hey kids, how's it going? Been busy? The kids screamed, yeah, and they all started speaking, trying to overtalk the others, and Naruto chuckled and said, settle down, settle down. Now I am happy to see all of you, and I know you all have been really busy because I can see all the hard work that has been done to the village. The painting and the repairing of the buildings as well as the flowers are all very lovely and show people just how great our land is, but we still have a lot to do and you all need finish your duties before dinner or Nina might not make her special dessert. All the kids went wide-eyed and ran off to get busy, and Naruto chuckled before he sighed and looked sad at the kids and said, they're all orphans. Gato killed every one of their parents. We found them on one of the cargo ships when we liberated our land. Gato had them all ready to be sold as slaves. They had no family to go back to, so after giving them food and baths I took Gato mansion he had built and turned it into an orphanage for them. Nina, an older woman whose husband died from the flu, he would have survived if Gato hadn't have killed the only doctor this island had and raised the price of medicine 10 times higher than normal, as he looked sad watching the children before he began to walk through the village. Each of the nins with him was sobered hearing this and looked around, and soon their eyes got wide as they saw the bridge that had people working on it, and Tazuna walked over and said, Naruto, how was your trip, kid? Naruto said, very productive. The Hidden Mist and the Land of Water have both agreed to be trading partners with us. I even got us some medics and security for the island. I trust no more trouble has arisen. Tazuna said, well, not really. Some guy and his guards came here last night and Tsunami put him up at our place. Said they were waiting for you. Naruto said, yes, that would be the feudal Lord of Lightning Country. The Lord of Water sent a message to him about a meeting with me. Anything else? Tazuna said, we should be able to finish the bridge either late this evening or early in the morning. The area for the hospital has been successfully cleared and leveled, so we can begin work on it soon. Also, some funny nin who said his name was some number came by and said he was here to inspect for a building, and after searching the island left. That's been about all that has happened. Naruto thought a second and said, "That's good to hear that the hospital land's been cleared, as that is very important for the future of our land. ... I think I know who the guy with the numbers for a name was. I think it was a postal nin, and I sent a letter to the director over that and asked him to create a post office here so we can send and receive mail and messages, so he probably was searching for a location to build it. We should have a contractor from the banking union come by soon also. With the amount of money Nami Inc. has in its accounts and the number of transactions it will handle, having a local office will save us a lot of time and money also. Try and finish today if you can with the bridge, and we will have the dedication ceremony at sunset. ... Has the people come up with a name for the bridge yet?" Tazuna said, "Well, I wanted to call it the super great big bridge that Tazuna built, but everyone else wanted to call it the Great Naruto Bridge, so the majority won," with a smile and shrugging his shoulders when he said the word, "so." Naruto smiled and said, "I'm honored. Well, try and finish today and have everyone come to the bridge at sunset so we can do an official opening, and I will ask the Lord of Lightning to honor us by being at the opening. After all the hard work everyone has done, it should boost the people's morale." Tazuna said, "That's a great idea. Tsunami and Inari are missing you." Naruto said, "I miss them and I have some news for them as well. Sire, you old drunk," as he turned and walked away. They soon came to a couple of cottages, and Naruto stopped and looked at the ninja who were walking with him and said, "I'm sorry for doing this, but for now these will be your temporary home. Security was not something we originally were planning for, so we hadn't had time to build permanent structures for you to use. We have a building designated for a clinic and we can show you to it tomorrow so you can set up shop there. Once the bridge is finished, the hospital is the next major project for us to build, and the material and blueprints have already been drawn up, ordered, and men have been clearing the land of woods already, so it won't take but maybe a month and a half to build it. Just in time for the Chunin exams that are coming up. It's in Konoha this time, isn't it?" as he looked at Jiraiya and Kakashi. Jiraiya said, "Yeah, it is." Naruto said, "Good. Well, all of you please rest and set yourself up today, but don't use all the buildings, as I expect Konoha or Suna to send teams here soon, and until we get the hospital done, these 12 buildings will be the base of operation for the ninja who will be stationed here. If you all want to, you can fix these up and make them a permanent base in your free time. Think of them as D-rank missions, and each building you fix up to standards that you would expect normal people to live in. When one is finished, meet with Tazuna and he will verify that it does reach civilian livable standard, and I will have a bonus added to your pay. He's also the one you would have to get a hold of for material such as paint and hammer and nails and things like that. I haven't checked these buildings myself, so I can't promise there is no blood in there either, since these buildings once had people live in them and people disappeared without a trace or were killed by him and his men all the time. Now if you will excuse me, I need to speak to the Lord of Lightning. Both of you can stay here as well. There are beds and the buildings have lights and water, but little else. That I do know," as he turned and jumped up into the trees and out of sight in moments. Jiraiya said, "Kid's a natural leader. I give him that." Kakashi nods and watched as the mist nins all begin to look at the buildings, and he asked, "What do you think, Jiraiya? I mean, we didn't have much chance to talk back in water, and we had to share rooms with those mist nins, and they were always around after." Jiraiya frowned and said, "Unless something drastic happens, I do not see any way to get him to stay in Konoha, and with the kind of backing he has now, it will be impossible to force him to stay as well. The only hope we have is that the ones he cares for back in Konoha convinces him to stay." Kakashi asked, "What are you going to do if he doesn't stay?" Jiraiya said, "I don't know. I failed him and Minato already so much. I was planning to teach him the Rasengan, but he already knows it and has improved it. I could teach him summoning, but with his feelings toward Konoha, I am not sure that is a good idea. Where do you rank him at?" Kakashi said, "I don't know. Before he left, his chakra reserves were so massive that I could feel them over 100 yards away, but now I can only feel them when I am 10 feet away. I don't know how much chakra he has, but I know it's more than I do, and if he really is doing those chakra control exercises, then his control must really up there." Jiraiya shook his head and said, "No. I say solid Chunin. When he did the Rasengan, I got a good read on his level of control, since I know the jutsu so well. He knows it, but he needs to condense it more to be up to standards of his father and I, but the fact he learned it somehow is amazing." Kakashi said, "Indeed. With what little bit of training he did on board the ship, he has a learning curve nearly as good as a Sharingan, with his actually taking time to learn it instead of instant copying, but when he learned it, then he is better at it than a person with a Sharingan who just copied it." Jiraiya said, I agree. I'm going to walk around the island and see what I can turn up. As he jumped away and Kakashi did also in another direction. Naruto landed in the clearing before you got to Tazuna house and began to walk toward it and he frowned as he thought, that's not a samurai. Those are but that group or Kumo nins. A samurai said, halt, who are you and what is your purpose here? Naruto said, I'm the Lord of Wave and I live here. I assume the Lord of Lightning is inside and expecting my return from the land of water. The samurai looked at Naruto's hand and saw the ring and said, forgive me your lordship. I was just fulfilling my duties to my lord. Naruto said, no problem, I understand but would you happen to know why the Kumo nins are here as well? I had not been expecting any. The samurai said, the Lord of Lightning requested the Raikage to come as well and they are part of his security detail. Naruto said, thank you. Now if you would excuse me I must meet my honored guest. The samurai nods and backs away and Naruto walked toward the house and the Kumo nins looked at him but heard him speaking with the samurai so made no motion to stop him. Naruto opened the door and stepped in and Inari said, Naruto, you're back, as he ran over and hugged him. Naruto chuckled and rubbed Inari's head and said, sure I'm kiddo and I have a lot to tell you about but first I should greet our honored guest. As Inari stepped back and Naruto walked over to the table where a very muscled dark-tanned man with blonde hair sat and across from him was an older-looking man who also was darkly tanned but had red hair with gray in it and he had green eyes and the guy looked at Naruto and put down the tea he was sipping and said, I can see that you look like the Yondaime but I don't see any traces of Kushina in you. Naruto frowned and a scroll was tossed to him and Naruto caught it and looked at the seal and bit his thumb and applied the blood to the seal and the seal opened and the man said, but you do have her blood in you my nephew, though I was told you died with my sister, making Naruto eyes wide. Naruto said, and he took a moment to calm himself. Tsunami said, Inari, come and help me with the laundry downstairs and let them talk in private. As she grabbed Inari who was about to say something and led him to the stairs down to the basement and Naruto cleared his throat and said, I was not aware that you related to my mother. I had only recently even learned about you being from the same branch as I was. Ichigo frowned and said, pardon my manners. Allow me to introduce myself and my guest. I am Ichigo Uzumaki, Lord of Lightning Country and this is the Godime Raikage of Kumo. I would give you his name but in tradition the Raikage always gives that up upon entering office. The Raikage said, aren't you a bit young to be a lord of a land? Naruto said, I may be young but I make up with it in other areas. Allow me to formally introduce myself. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Kitsune and Lord of Wave. Both men's eyes got wide and the Ichigo said, I see. So what exactly do you know about the Uzumaki clans since you mentioned branches? Naruto said, I know there are 3 branches, Uzumaki Kase, Uzumaki Mizu, and Uzumaki Kori and we are both members of the Kori branch. I have a scroll with all the information the Lord of Water had on the Uzumaki family but it doesn't make any sense. Ichigo sighed and said, it makes perfect sense if you know the truth about the village of Whirlpool and the history of the Land of Water and the Hidden Mist village. Naruto asked, what do you mean? I know some about it like the reason they were once called the Bloody Mist and that bloodlines are hated there. Ichigo snorts and said, you don't know the half of it kid. People actually have a right to hate bloodlines after what happened. Naruto asked, what do you mean? Ichigo said, Whirlpool was not exactly a normal village. The Sandai Mizukage wanted to create a task force similar to Anbu in Konoha and Bolt in Kumo. However this task force would be special. He created several of these. Whirlpool wasn't a village, it was a training center for the elite task force. Everyone in the village had a bloodline of either water, wind, or ice. All family names were removed for the protection of the children and we all took up the name Uzumaki and we were divided into 3 branches based on what bloodline we had so we could be properly trained to use it the most effective. There were several such villages but the one we came from was called Whirlpool and Uzumaki was another name for Whirlpool. As he took a sip of tea and Naruto sat down and the Raikage actually looked interested. Ichigo set his tea down and said, people in the Land of Water fear bloodlines because they were used to their fullest extent. The Sandai Mizukage would find places where tension was high and then he would have one village carry out a mission that would make one side blame the other. And another village would offer their services to kill. someone on the other side, and then the original village would offer the side that was just attacked their services, bleeding their economy and killing the leaders while disrupting what the two sides that were now at war needed to survive. And after the two villages milked both sides for everything they could, a third village would be sent in, making it look like that village scared the other two away and would then get to reap the rewards of saving them. As this was happening, Whirlpool and the other special villages would start to believe that they were being betrayed by the other two villages, so rivalry would increase between each villages, weakening us. That was the Sandime's plan. He weakened us and milked us for all he could get out of us while having us do the same thing to other villages, and then the Bloody Mist village went in and began to kill anyone who had a bloodline, since it was the bloodlines that were always starting the trouble. We didn't realize until it was too late what was really going on, and by then the people hated bloodlines and the Sandime Mizukage was able to begin exterminating us. Naruto clenched his fist and blood started to fall, and the Raikage saw this and asked, "What's got you so pissed? I mean, I can understand having your family tricked like that, but you seem to be pissed for more than that." Naruto said, "It's Madara Uchiha, the bastard. He's behind it all. He was the one who sent Kyuubi to attack Konoha in the first place, that cost me my parents. He was the one who started the bloodline war in Water Country, since he was the Sandime Mizukage. He's responsible for turning Leela brother into a Jinchuriki for the Sanbi and then his death. He's the one who the leader of Akatsuki who are after us Jinchuriki. He's been behind so much pain and suffering, I just want to kill him." As both men were wide-eyed and shocked, Ichigo said, Whoa, slow down and back up. Uchiha Madara died fighting the Sandime Mizukage." Naruto shook his head and said, "No. Somehow he got a special power with his Sharingan that has given him eternal youth, but I know he's alive. I got Jiraiya of the Sannin here on the island as well as Hatake Kakashi, and they both can prove what I am telling you, but the bastard is alive. Uchiha Itachi was a deep cover agent Konoha had spy on him and the group he formed called Akatsuki until recently, when proof of the real killers of the Uchiha clan came to light, and it turned out it was a man named Danzo who was a student of Madara before he first left Konoha, from what I've been told." The Raikage frowned as he heard this and said, "You said you have Jiraiya of the Sannin here on the island and Hatake Kakashi. Why are they here?" Naruto said, "They're both been ordered to track me down after I left Konoha before I joined their ninja ranks. They caught up with me in the Land of Water, and after a few disagreements where I had them pay some heavy fines for their punishment as well as the fines they had to pay the Mizukage, they are being forced to take a mission to escort me to Konoha and back after I go to discuss a trade alliance with them and my country." The Raikage snorted and said, "And when they get you in Konoha they won't let you leave?" Naruto said, "If they don't, I already got the documents drawn up that the Hidden Mist will declare war on Konoha, as well as a huge trade embargo will be placed on the Land of Fire and Konoha, so they can't touch me. Besides, I have information about an impending attack on their village by two hidden villages that could result in the death also. I'm fairly sure they won't want to mess with me." Ichigo asked, "Why would the Hidden Mist go to war over you with Konoha? I mean, sure, if they have a trade alliance with you they would be upset, but that isn't a good enough reason to go to war." Naruto said, There is more to it, but until I speak with Tsunami about it I rather not say." A scream of, "What?" was heard from downstairs, and stomping up the stairs, and Tsunami ran into the room looking shocked and looked at Naruto, who frowned and said, "She told you, huh?" Tsunami said, "So it's true." Naruto rubbed his head and said, I was going to tell you first chance I got." Tsunami took a deep breath and looked at Naruto and said, "So the Land of Water wants Wave to merge together?" Making Naruto blink and asked, What are you going on about?" Tsunami said, "I already know the Mizukage wants to marry you, and I done accepted that fact when we first got together. I am shocked though about the merging part." Naruto slams his head against the table and said, "I will never understand woman. I thought for sure you were going to scream and rant and want to kill me." Tsunami said, "No. I know everything she said to you and I agree with her on what she said mostly. Besides, I get to marry you first after your birthday, and, well, Inari going to have a little brother or sister soon," as she rubbed her belly. Naruto eyes got wide and said, Are you sure?" in a stutter. Tsunami said, "I think so. I just need to see a doctor to verify it, but I know the signs." Naruto smiled and said, "I'm so happy, Tsunami-chan, and we got to celebrate. Oh, did you know that Ichigo here is actually my uncle on my mother's side? That means that, wait, you and Mom were brother and sister. Were there any other siblings or relatives?" Ichigo said, "No, Mom died giving birth to Kushina and Dad died in battle. I raised her and when the chance to join Whirlpool arrived I took it. Why? Naruto looked down and said, there is someone I know about but haven't actually met who was born in water country. He has an ice bloodline also and I have been trying to track him down in case we were related sir and learn to use our bloodline better. Ichigo said, sorry kid. Anyone else from Whirlpool or, for that matter the land of water would not be related to you. The only family we had left were our parents and each other so when I die you and the family you create will be all that is of our family line. Naruto nods and looked at Tsunami who was smiling a little but sad and also at hearing the person Naruto had been looking for wasn't related to him and he smiled and said, the Lord of Water is the father of Leela the god Mizukage and he has mentioned about a possible merger but I told him I would have to talk to the people of Wave since I don't want the people to suffer from having a feudal lord not caring about them and their needs. Tsunami said, oh, well we will have to talk it over with them and we have 3 years. I guess I will let you all get back to what you were saying. Sorry for the interruption, as she bowed and blushed in embarrassment before leaving. Naruto smiled as he sat down and sighed a moment and said, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, you asked why the Hidden Mist would go to war over me. I guess you got your answer now, huh? The Raikage said, yeah, that's surprising, so how much do you know about this Akatsuki? Naruto said, if you want I could get Jiraiya since I am sure you would trust his words more than mine. The Raikage said, no, maybe later just to see if he knows anything you don't but I trust your words. I am curious about this Akatsuki thought because my own brother is a Jinchuriki for the Hachibi and we also have another Jinchuriki for the Nibi and if with what you said means Madara is a threat to them and I need to know what you know. Naruto thought a moment and said, well I was planning to come see you soon anyways to discuss that as well as the trade alliance I am offering to every country as well as every hidden village. As he pulled out 2 scrolls and said, this is the contract that I am offering every country and this is the contract I am offering every hidden village. Has Tsunami informed you about Nami Inc. taking over all of Gato shipping corporations? Ichigo said, she mentioned it and said you would discuss it with us. Naruto said, then if you both would read this and see the request at the bottom and if you both agree to those terms then we can get onto the discussion of Akatsuki. I won't give one country a better deal than the other so there is no negotiations on this. It's either an accept or not accept, as he handed them the scrolls. Both men opened them and began to read and Ichigo asked, why does the hidden villages get a discount? Naruto said, the countries have to pay more because that covers the extra cost of missions for security that might be required for the shipping. The hidden villages have their own security and with a fixed income of nearly $25,000 a month not counting any extra missions they would make sure to cover the 2 shipping centers in their country. One in their village and one in the capital. The countries with no hidden villages will only have 1 shipping center in the capital. Ichigo nods and looks over the contract some more and the Raikage said, why would people agree to do it this way? I mean why wouldn't they just go with one of Nami Inc. rivals? Naruto smiled and said, that's the trick right there. Gato was a greedy little bastard and after we went through his business records we figured out how he was screwing people over to get the most profit and it only worked because of people's fears of what his men and other would do. Many smaller traders and shipping companies only joined him for protection. Now this is where we reach the same destination but different paths. With the threat of bandits, taxes, and permits to cross the borders between nations with supplies people had to spend a lot of time away from their business on the road because they couldn't afford the extra help. By having them join as an affiliate of Nami Inc. then they get the same protection that those who are already members with us get and they never have to leave their home country or worry about taxes or border permits and the threat of bandits would be decreased because the hidden villages always try to keep the trade roads clear of them for their own survival. Ichigo said, I don't get it. Why should we agree to this? How exactly are you going to manage this? Naruto said, alright. This is how it will work. As I said there will be a trade center opened up in the capital of your country and your hidden village. Now there are going to be civilians working there to help with the inventory and moving of goods but each trade center will hire a ninja or a team from the hidden village who has experience in sealing of items. Now say a mining company has 200 pounds or iron to be sent to say Mist Country. They would send the iron to the closest trade center and if an order was there to pick up, get it and then return to their factory. That is as far as they would have to travel and would only have to pay for security of the iron that far. Once it got to the trade center, it would be sealed and stored by the ninja working there and secured by a team charged with security at the building, making sure nothing is stolen. So that is at least 4 missions that are guaranteed to the hidden cloud village that they would either have in their own village or the capital. Are you both with me so far? Both men nod, listening, and Naruto said, now as I said, the iron and whatever else that is being stored there would be stored to the end of the week before being shipped. A scroll that contains the iron will be sealed into another scroll that will have all items going to the same country. A mission request will be sent on Friday to Kumo telling how many mission we need and what rank based on the value of the total items stored in the scrolls and were to. Kumo will then have the ninja go to the capital or prepare in Kumo and on Monday pick up the scrolls and take them where they go, or in the case of the iron they take them as far as they can within allied nations that your men can go to and take it to the capital of that country, where hired ninja from your village or another village that is allied with them will separate the scrolls into other scrolls that can be sent easier from that location, and this continues going on with every country until it reaches either its destination or it reaches Wave, and once it gets here to Wave we use our ships to send it to which island country it goes to. So there is potentially 3 or 4 missions for Kumo. 1 or 2 missions for Konoha before it gets to Wave, where all island nations missions would be given to Mist since they are the easiest to do them without causing international incidents. Both men thought about what he said, and the Raikage said, that would mean a definite increase in the mission payout for each of the hidden villages that agree to this. But what happens if a hidden village refuses to join you trade alliance? Naruto said, then we don't ship anything to them. The Gato Corporation had a vast majority of the hidden villages' normal shipping assigned to them, which is why he was allowed to do so much illegal operations like drug racketing and slave trading. Since Nami Inc. has gained all those assets he had by reducing the taxes and fees that Gato forced those under him to pay, allowing them to recover and grow. We have gained several very loyal business partners who are spreading the word to others that Gato had not got and explaining to them as I have just to you, and they will see the ones their competition joining Nami Inc. They will see either they join us and reap the benefits of safer and wealthier business to markets they never could have reached before, will make Nami Inc. grow and grow until we are basically the only shipping company in the world. The hidden villages would join because that means in case of war they would have not only a way to keep their village economy going but also ways to natural resources like medicines for injuries and metals for weapons. Other countries would join because, like I said, having access to new sources of trade will make them want to join to improve their lives and the lives of their people. In doing this, my country gains the protection of all the hidden villages because we would be a neutral who, if one village broke the peace, all the other villages would turn on that one because of how valuable our country is. I've already explained this to the banking guild and the postal ninja, and they have agreed to build offices here also because with these agreements Wave will become the trading capital of the world. The hidden villages get more missions to fund their ninja programs, and the countries get new income from new resources and trade. With a smile on his face as both men gape, the Raikage said, that means you could control the world through trade. Naruto said, actually no. You see, my plans work only as long as Wave remains neutral, and with representatives from each of your villages here in Wave protecting us from being influenced by others will ensure that we keep everything legit, and since Nami Inc. will lose its name as a shipping corporation and become mostly a commerce guild, we set up a worldwide infrastructure that each country would support in their country, and Wave would only gain housing for the ninja teams sent here to protect its people. A bank office for the people of Wave to get their share of the profits, and a ninja post office where the ninjas stationed here and me will be able to send secured messages to their villages, or me to send messages to you or Leela in Mist or whoever else I have business with. Wave would fall under the same infrastructure as every other nation, and after this is set up Wave would have actually no control over it besides the yearly renewal fee each country, village, or business that allies with us pay to keep the program running in their country. After the program is up and running, Wave would not be able to control it because it would be too big to control, so control of the offices would then fall back into the hands of the feudal lord and the ninja villages in their respective villages. Ichigo blinked and said, wait, if what you're saying is true, then you're basically setting up a postal service for material instead of mail, and by having the hidden villages do all the actual work and the extra charges the country has to pay for is paying for those ninja services, isn't it? As he looked at Naruto in shock. Naruto smirked and said, yay. The banking guild will set up an account in each country that the taxes that you agree to go into and gain interest, and then the hidden villages in that country or the allied country has the money paid for it out of those accounts, and that is why the hidden villages has to pay a smaller fee when it actually cost less than that to run the trading center, so even some of the money the hidden villages goes into that account in their country as well. Nami Inc. actually only gets paid from the original shipping companies that ship from smaller towns to the trading centers, and that is only in a yearly fee for using the network that we set up to bigger markets for them to use. Ichigo burst out laughing and said, "My god, it's so simple but brilliant. I wonder why nobody ever thought of it before," as he looked in thought. Naruto said, "Because everyone was looking out for themselves instead of looking at the big picture. It only can work by having a big shipping company to start it all off, and that is what Wave got when we took Gato shipping as payment for his crimes to our country. The people of my country are fishermen, carpenters, and small-time businessmen and women. They don't want to go into a huge shipping company. And don't have any idea how to really run it, so by making this system self-supporting, the people of Wave don't actually have to deal with running it, and everyone that was a citizen of Wave is joint partners in Nami Inc. So each year when all the companies renew their shipping contract, it all goes into an account, and that money is divided equally into separate accounts in the name of the people of Wave, and 6 accounts that have been set up and set aside for me to pay for the protection of my country and paying for the hospitals, supplies, school, and upkeep of the bridge, and anything that is required to keep my country going." The Raikage shook his head and said, "I understand it all, and it sounds so big and dangerous, but in truth it's so simple and only works as long as everyone agrees. It's brilliant." Naruto said, "I can only take credit for part of it. A leader is only as strong as the people under him. I listen to the advice of my people to do what is best for them. They helped me come up with all of it, and so I ask you, do you accept the proposal I am offering and become allies of Wave?" The Raikage looked at Ichigo, who nods, and the Raikage said, "We both agree to this, but I have to ask what happens if no one else agrees." Naruto said, "That won't happen. All the island nations are too dependent on Nami Inc. to refuse. Konoha will accept because of the information about the attack I have. If they refuse to agree to it, then I offer the same deal to the 2 villages preparing to attack them, and they will accept to keep me from informing Konoha about their attack plans. So either way, I have 3 of the 5 major hidden villages as business partner, and if Konoha accepts, I could get 4 of the 5 when I reveal that Konoha knows about the attack by the 4, so they will agree to save the lives of the men who would be killed, since Konoha won't be caught by surprise, and then with that support I can get several of the minor villages, and then the last of the 5th will have no choice but to join or be cut off from the worldwide trade." The Raikage shook his head and said, "You're dangerous, kid. Real dangerous. You're the last of your clan, since Ichigo can't have kids, right?" Naruto looked at Ichigo, who nods, closing his eyes, and Naruto nods. The Raikage said, "I want in on this. With you marrying the Mizukage, you're gaining military backing that could be exploited to cripple the economies of every other hidden village by replacing our ninja with the hidden mist ninja in this network you're setting up, and once it's up and running, there would be nothing anyone could do to stop that from happening, since you're the CEO of this network. To make sure that doesn't happen, I will have you marry one of my ninja to help restore your clan and to give you a reason to respect my country. You gain the military backing of Kumo and Mist. It's not negotiable. I agree to this network and having my men operate it, then you marry one of my people. This is also for your family protection, since the girl I chose will be a strong warrior who can protect your wife and unborn child." Naruto frowned and said, I will have to mention it to Tsunami and Leela, and as long as they agree, I will agree, though I." Ichigo said, "Don't finish that sentence, Naruto. Who are you thinking about using?" as he looked at the Raikage, who smirked and said, "Karai." Ichigo shook his head and said, "I suppose that would be best, all things considered. Are you sure about it, though? I mean, aren't you worried about her bloodline?" Naruto asked, "Hey, excuse me. If we're talking about my future, then." The Raikage slammed his fist into the table, breaking the table into rubble, and said, "Shut the hell up, kid. If I am willing to let you marry my daughter, you should show some respect." Naruto choked and said, "Your daughter?" as he looked at the Raikage shocked, and then at Ichigo, who said, "Let me give you a little info. I am sure you noticed the dark tan the Raikage here has. The reason he has it is because of a bloodline. All members of his clan has it. By applying chakra to their body, they can turn their body as hard as iron, which is why they are called the Iron Body Clan. In Konoha there is a Junin named Guy. Have you heard of him?" Naruto said, super fuzzy brows, "Yeah, what about him?" The Reikage frowned and Ichigo said, he was a student of your mother's and she taught him the Iron Fist Taijutsu from a scroll I sent her as a wedding gift for marrying your father. I got the style as a gift from my late wife when I married my wife who was the sister to the Reikage, and that style is their family style called the Iron Fist. Guy took the Iron Fist and incorporated the Lotus into it, creating the Strong Fist, but it's the same basic taijutsu. The Iron Fist was originally used with the bloodline of the Reikage family. Naruto said, I see. How did you become the Lord of Lightning if I might ask? The Reikage said, he saved my sister's life when he was passing through our country when her and the previous Lord of Lightning were attacked by some rain nins when they were out riding on horses. My sister took a fancy to him after her husband's death and he took a fancy to her and they were married and he became the new lord. She died during childbirth. Ichigo said, which is why I won't marry again because the pain of losing my wife and son at the same time was too much for me to go through again. The funny thing is since I don't have any children and I am considered a member of the Reikage clan. Naruto slammed his head and said, please don't tell me what I think you're going to say. I got one country already wanting to merge with this one. I don't think I could handle a third. Ichigo smirked and the Reikage slammed his fist into Naruto, sending him flying back several yards against the wall and said, well to damn bad boy, what the hell, your stomach feels like iron. Naruto said, damn that hurt. As the armor began to appear on Naruto who was holding his stomach and both men were looking at Naruto shocked, who slowly stood up and Ichigo said, what the hell is that Naruto? Naruto looked at his hand and saw the armor and he looked at his stomach and saw the armor had been damaged and he frowned and said, Eva, report, ignoring both the Reikage and Ichigo. Eva appeared in a puff of smoke and said, armor integrity down to 10% in the stomach area. He has a punching power of over 2,500 psi and was able to crush the suit under his punch as well as the lightning element behind it. You also have a cracked rib but I have released some of Kyuubi chakra to heal it. Naruto said, damn you pack a punch, and here I thought Fuzzy Brows and Super Fuzzy Brows were the only ones with enough power to do that. Eva, seal armor and begin repairs. Eva said, right Naruto-kun. As she disappeared in a puff of smoke and the armor disappeared off of Naruto's body and he held his stomach and saw both men looking at him and he sighed and said, it's a long story. After Naruto saw the looks both men were giving him he sighed and said, we can get to that shortly. Let me give you all the info Akatsuki first. Just then Tsunami walked into the room and said, is everything all? What the hell happened to my table? As she put her hands on her hips. Naruto pointed toward the Reikage as did Ichigo and the Reikage said, cowards. I broke you table. Tsunami walked over to clean up the flowers that had been on the table and began to pick it up and she said, I expect you will replace it then. As she sat the flowers on the cabinets behind the Reikage. The Reikage snorted and said, I'm not replacing some damn tar. What the hell? As he held his head where he had just been hit on the head with a rolling pin, Tsunami picked up off the cabinet she set the flowers on and she pointed the rolling pin at him and said, now listen here Reikage-sama, or whatever the hell flattery, I am supposed to blow up your ass. This is my home and you a guest in it and I will not have you walk in here acting like you own the place and break my furniture and valuables. Now you are going to replace this table and be happy about it, or I am going to hit you so many times over the head you're going to be shitting your own teeth. Do I make myself clear? As she glared at him. The Reikage paled and he looked at Naruto and said, I see now why you chose her. I've seen pissed off Kunoichi less scary than she is. Naruto opened his mouth and heard Eva say, don't or she will yell at you. Let her vent on the Reikage. Naruto nods and smirked and the Reikage who saw Naruto close his mouth thought, damn. I was sure he would take the bait, only to be hit over the head again by the rolling pin and Tsunami asked, do you understand me? Scolding him. The Reikage frowned and said, yes Tsunami-san. Tsunami smiled and said, good. Lucky for you the table was made by a carpenter here in Wave and won't be very expensive but you will pay for it and his time to make it. Now if you will excuse me I must get this mess cleaned up. I will not have my home look like a pig pen. As she began to pick up the wood pieces and throw them out. Naruto created Tukage Bunshin to help her and motioned with his head and both Ichigo and the Reikage followed Naruto to the back porch. Naruto said, sorry about that. She's usually very well manured and passive but when someone messes up the house she gets that way. You should have seen the day I came back in after working on the drainage canals and I tracked mud in the house, as he shivered at the memory. Naruto kicked a few boards on the floor, and when he heard one that sounded hollow he pried it up and pulled out a bottle of sake and a couple of shot glasses and poured the glasses and said, "Tazuna a good man, but he always puts a couple of bottles back. I'll replace it later," as he took a shot and the other two men did as well. After that Naruto said, Akatsuki originally consisted of 10 members. Itachi of Konoha, though he was a spy for Konoha, Pain, Deidara of Iwa, Konan, Zetsu of Grass, Kisame of Mist, Orochimaru of Konoha, Kakazu of Waterfall, Hiden of Hot Spring, Sasori of Suna, and the true leader Uchiha Madara, though he has nearly all the members but Pain, Konan, Itachi and I believe Kisame fooled into thinking he's some idiot named Toby who wears an orange and black spiral mask with one eye hole. Kisame dead and Itachi cover's been blown. I know Orochimaru has left them for his own ambitions, but the rest of them I don't know anything else besides what the bingo book has on them. I think that's everything. Tsunami came out with a trash bag in her hand. The two clones had the scraps of the table and they took them to a pile to burn later, and Tsunami threw the trash away and she glared at all three men who had the shot glasses in their hands, and Naruto said, "Guess what, dear? Tall, dark and gruesome here wants me to marry his daughter, who's my uncle's niece by marriage, and basically want Lightning Country to merge with Wave. ... Actually, with the way the three countries are set up, that's not that hard to actually figure. If I remember right, Lightning Country is north of here up the coast and east of them is Water Country." Ichigo thought and said, "That's actually very true." Naruto nods and said, "So what do you think, dear? Should we accept his offer?" Tsunami asked, "How many kids did you want to have again?" Naruto saw the twinkle Tsunami had in her eye and said, "No more than 200. Why?" In a serious voice, making the Raikage and Ichigo look at Naruto and then at Naruto crotch. Tsunami said, "Well, between the Mizukage and the Raikage daughter they should be able to handle 15 each, since I don't know if I will be able to safely have any more after that. Then there's the Kazekage daughter Eva told me about, and that Tenten girl in Konoha." Naruto blinked and the Raikage said, "You are definitely marring my daughter now. I've heard of political marriages, but this is ridiculous. What's the story on the chick from Konoha? She the daughter of the Fire Lord or something?" Naruto frowned and looked at Tsunami a moment and said, "No, she's just someone I met in a past life," as he looked out at the yard sadly as his eyes glossed over. Ichigo frowned as he shot a questioning look at the others there who all seemed confused. Naruto said, "All joking aside, Tsunami, do you think we should do it? I don't want to hurt anyone precious to me." Tsunami bit her lip and said, "Just how many are you expecting to marry to restore your clan?" Naruto was silent and Ichigo said, "Truthfully, Tsunami-san, the more heirs he can produce the better it would be. If Wave, Water, and Lightning do merge together like suggested, that is a lot of land to control. I have several years left ahead of me and I figure that old jackass in Water does as well, but when we step down Leela will take over as ruler of Water and Karai will take over Lightning. Any children they have will be next in line for lord of each land, so they will have to have at least 2 and one will have to be a son. Like it or not, males get first chance at the position of feudal lords. Daughters are usually married off for political situations like this, and even with the 3 lands merging on paper they will remain 3 separate lands, and you will have to give him a son as well, or have someone besides Leela and Karai give him one that can't go to another country like those 2 will. If you don't, then there are a lot of laws in different lands that could give someone the people of your country hate the power to take over as Lord of Wave after Naruto steps down. One such law is Suna law. If a man challenges another man for ownership of his wife, the wife becomes property and the winner of a fight to death would get her," and Naruto thought, "Yeah, I know." The Raikage said, "There's also the law of Iwa that said if a woman carries the child of a man then she is his property, so if say you had a daughter and someone from Iwa raped her and got her pregnant, they would legally own her, and ownership and marriage are considered the same thing, so they would be the feudal lord of Wave." Naruto said, "Over my dead body." Ichigo said, "It could happen, Naruto. You need to think about things like that. That is one of the reasons males are given first crack at the titles of feudal lords." Tsunami said, "What about Inari?" Naruto shook his head and said, "It goes to blood relations first, which means before Inari would be given a chance at the title, any other child I had would have rights to Wave first. I hate politics." Tsunami frowned and said, "There is so much we don't know yet," as she bit her lip. Naruto smiled and said, "Don't stress yourself about it, Tsunami. Things will work out. I promise," as he hugged her. Tsunami smiled and said, "Well, I better get dinner started," as she went inside. Ichigo looks around and Naruto looked at the clock on the wall and said, well, if you both wouldn't mind, the people of my country should be finishing with the bridge you all saw when you arrived, and we are having our grand opening ceremony at sunset, which is in less than an hour. I humbly request you both come. The Raikage asked, what about that armor? Naruto said, I will tell you later after I marry your daughter. Right now it's a personal secret, but I will tell you when I am ready. The Raikage frowned but nods, and Naruto said, good, then please come to the bridge in about 30 minutes. I'm going to help finish it, as he jumped off the porch and took to the trees. When Naruto got to the bridge, he saw nearly the entire town there, and he began to help with the bridge, and several people smiled at this. When the Raikage arrived with Ichigo and their escorts along with Tsunami and Inari, they saw Naruto using wind manipulation to smooth out the cement on the last section, and Naruto did this for about 5 minutes when he stopped and took a deep breath as he jumped into the air, and to the shock of those from Lightning Country stayed 10 feet in the air, and he said, people of Wave and of course our honor guest the Raikage and the Lord of Lightning as well as their escorts. Making all the people turn and nod toward the Lightning delegates. Naruto cleared his throat and said, we've come a long way, people, in a short amount of time. Less than 6 months ago the people here were under the ruthless control of Gato and me. Well, I was some kid who thought that being a ninja was about rescuing princess, rescuing damsels in distress, and stopping the bad guys. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, ha, Tsunami-chan. Making everyone laugh as she smiled lovingly at Tsunami, who blushed. Naruto smiled as he looked at everyone there and said, anyways, as I was saying, we've come a long way and the future is looking brightly. ... I have come from talks with the Land of Water and the Hidden Mist Village, and both have agreed to become trading allies, and the Hidden Mist has sent us 3 Genin teams to help protect our land and our new bridge, as well as a team of medics who will begin working on treating any sickness or injuries that come in the future. ... I have also had talks with the Land of Lightning and the Hidden Cloud Village, who has agreed to the same conditions and will be sending their own ninja also here to aid the Mist Nins in making sure bandits or mercenaries like the ones that came shortly after Gato was killed ever bother our people again, making all the people cheer. Naruto raised his hand and said, but the Land of Water and the Land of Lightning have both made a request though, and while it would be good for my own goals, I don't know exactly what to do about the request because it would have an effect on the future of the people of Wave, and so I am putting the choice in your hands since you elected me as the feudal lord of Wave and I chose all of you as my counsel and advisors, so here is what has been offered. ... I have what is known as a bloodline that allows me to control some. I am the last of my family, so to ensure that my family and bloodline does not die out, I will have to have several children. ... I told Tsunami about this all before we ever agreed to get together, and I love her very dearly, so do not think what I am about to say is something I would do lightly or without talking it over with her and having her agreement. The daughter of the Lord of Water has asked to be allowed to help me continue my clan by marrying me also alongside Tsunami. I have agreed to this, but after I agreed, her father informed me that when such a marriage happens that there is usually a merger between lands. People's eyes got wide and Naruto raised his hands to stop everyone from talking, and Naruto said, wait till I finish please, because I have not agreed to that, getting everyone to calm down. Naruto said, now the Lord of Lightning and I have recently discovered he is actually my uncle on my mother's side, and he was informed that I died at birth, so he never knew I was alive. ... Now he has informed me that he won't have any other children after the loss of his wife and child, and I respect his choice, but the niece of his late wife is next in line for the title of Lord of Lightning, just as the daughter of the Lord of Water is. As such, him along with her father, the Raikage, has asked me to marry her as well to help me restore my clan, but as with the case of the Land of Water, that would mean a merging of our lands. ... Now there are several choices that we have here. Naruto saw that everyone including the Mist Nins and Jiraiya and Kakashi had arrived and were listening to this, and he said, one is that I refuse both offers, though that would most likely lose us the respect of both countries and most likely our new trading allies. ... The second option is that I step down before the wedding as the Lord of Wave and chose a successor. In doing this it may not be an insult to both Water and Lightning, or if it is, it will be solely me that they blame. ... The final choice that I see is that we accept the deal and merge into one nation of Wave, Water, and Lightning. We would most likely have to come up with a new name though, and I would have to talk all this over with the lords of both Water and Lightning to see where the future of our countries will go. Isander stepped forward and said, Naruto, what exactly would happen if we took option 3? I think we could all understand what the first 2 would mean, but what about the third one? Naruto looked at the people gathered and said, honestly. ... I don't know. I would have to speak with all parties involved and I would do what I believe would be in the best interest of all those involved. Before I arrived back home here in Wave after leaving the Land of Water I had went over in my head and I was planning to choose a worthy successor as the Lord of Wave and inform you all why I was stepping down, someone like either Tazuna or perhaps yourself Isander since you understand the pain the people here went through already. I did not want to force the people of Wave to have to deal with another lord who didn't give you the proper attention you deserve and I fear that if I were to merge our three countries while it would be great in some areas it would also hurt us in others. Tazuna said, what are the pros and cons here Naruto? You never sugarcoat things to us so what are we looking at? Naruto took a deep breath and said, I guess I should divide it up into three categories. Economy, military, civilian. Financially Wave economy is secured by itself for the next 20 years at least. On its own but by merging with water and lightning. Then the huge bubble account we have would be absorbed into both lightning and water economy which will then reform into one new bubble but without knowing the exact financial situation both countries are in we have no way of knowing if that would be a big bubble or a small bubble and I can't just ask for the financial status of both the Lords of Water and Lighting to make the decision because that could be used to destroy their country so it would be all up to chance there. However that is not just a risk for us, it's a risk for them as well. Wave does not have a lot of industries that could be used to help their economies. In fact we only have one industry that would be large enough to make a direct impact and that is Nami Inc. Isander said, so basically you're saying financially we are stable for the next 20 years on our own but after that 20 years we could be in ruin because the only major industry we have is Nami Inc. since everything on the island is tied into it somehow. Naruto said, yes. That is why as long as Water and Lightning Country are not in financial troubles it would be better off for us to join them. Odin asked, what about military? What effects would this have on Mist and Kumo? Naruto said, that's the tricky part. The only way for it to work and have Kumo and Mist to keep their village from being destroyed is by creating a third hidden village here in Wave, making everyone wide-eyed. Tazuna asked, why would there have to be a hidden village in Wave Naruto? Naruto said, because by merging all three countries' military together then Wave Country would lose its neutrality that I was hoping to establish by contacting the other hidden villages. That would make us an easy target for other villages because we have no way to defend ourselves and we would need it because of Nami Inc. Nami Inc. while financially is the lifeblood of Wave it is also going to be our curse because we are in a position to control half of the trade in the world and that could be used to give one side enough power to crush their enemies by controlling which goods they receive if any so to stop this from happening we would have to have a joint hidden village built here with ninja from both Mist and Kumo. It would also mean that Wave would be allied or enemies to all allies or enemies of all three villages. This deal will shift the balance of power in the elemental nation taking the title of strongest country from Fire Country and giving it to the new country we formed. This would be a good thing and a bad thing in the long run. You see I was planning on making Iwa the last country that we allied to because Iwa most likely will hate my guts because of my father. For the same reason Konoha is going to want to kiss my ass because of my father. Right now I am Konoha's worst nightmare. I am a PR problem that could destroy their village. I'm the son of their strongest leader as well as being the strongest weapon because of the QB being in me, making the Mist and Lightning nins outside of Reikage wide-eyed. Naruto saw Jiraiya frown and pointed to him and Kakashi and said, that's why those two have been searching for me since I left the village. By me not being a ninja of their village that shows that I have a lack of faith in their ninja program which will make people believe there is something wrong with their ninja program which will hurt them with clients who are trying to figure out what the problem is as well as unwanted attention on all of their actions which could discover secrets they have and want to remain secrets. Next is me being a Jinchuriki running wild. That's like giving a sword to a killer and getting on your hands and knees and telling him to kill you. It's suicide because people will want to use me against Konoha and it makes Konoha look like nothing but weak idiots, as he looked up at the sky. The Mist Nins and Lightning Nins were seeing the scowling looks Jiraiya and Kakashi had and most were thinking the same thing the Reikage was thinking. I wish I had a camera. Naruto said, so now that everyone has thought of that you must realize Konoha would be willing to do anything to get some kind of control over me or some way to get the PR headache taken care of. Hell I wouldn't be surprised if they try to have me marry one of their nins and form a treaty with us. Hell if I get permission from the Reikage and the Mizukage I might even be able to get them to join in the new hidden village that will be built here. Hell I might even negotiate with them to get them to foot the bill for building it. The Raikage said, "Go for it," with a smirk on his face, and Kakashi and Jiraiya scowled at him while glaring also. Naruto said, "But all joking aside, if we do this we will be at the least allied with Konoha to make it seem as if I was more of a political decision to leave Konoha than a ninja reason to save face with their clients, and though I hate most of the people in Konoha there are a few there that I care for as much as I care for the people here, so I am willing to swallow my pride some to make sure they are okay. Konoha is going to have to get along with Mist, Kumo, and for now let's go with the name Arashi since I'm tired of saying future village." The Raikage thought, "Arashi, Storm, huh? I like it." Naruto said, "Now everyone has an idea of what the economic and military situation will be. The last is the civilian aspect of it. Right now we have 3 countries that have their own rules, laws, taxes, customs, and beliefs. As it was pointed out to me by the Raikage and the Lightning Lord, some of these could be used to change the very fabric of our way of life. I was told that if I had a daughter instead of a son by Tsunami and no other children with her, then that daughter would be the next in line for the Lord of Wave unless I named a successor outside of family, which is very frowned upon since they have to be approved by a retainer of the Emperor. I was approved, so if any of you are worried about that, I did get that taken care of, but after that it goes by family and sons get first rights and daughters second. It's not my rules but the rules of the Emperor. The reason I am telling you all this is because if Tsunami had a daughter only she would get first chance at the title of Lord of Wave unless she was killed or married off. Then any other sons I had with other women that were not lords of their respective lands. And then other daughters, and lastly Inari, even though I claim him as a son the Lord doesn't recognize him because of blood. That's why I hate politics. But the point I was trying to make. Iwa has a law that says if a woman is carrying a man's child she is legally his wife. If I had a daughter and someone from Iwa got her pregnant by whatever means, the law of Iwa say that she is his wife, and that would give him the right to be the Lord of Wave, making everyone sobered by those words. Tazuna said, "I have a question, Naruto. What happens with the children from your other's wives? Why couldn't one of your sons you had with them be the next Lord of Wave?" Naruto looked at the sky and said, "It's too big for one person to deal with. In order to make sure the people of Wave, Lightning, and Water were taken care of, we would have to keep 3 lords of the lands under one title. The power would be divided evenly among them. Any child I have with the daughter of the Lord of Water would get first chance at the seat of governor there. The same for any child I had with the daughter of the Raikage. That means Tsunami or a child with a 4th woman who could not be redirected to another country would get first chance at the office here. It would go oldest son of Tsunami or number 4. If there was no son, then it would go oldest daughter of Tsunami or number 4. If they don't have kids and I have 2 sons with one of my other wives, then the second son would get first chance here, and if there was no sons, then second eldest daughter. Did I forget anything?" as he looked at Ichigo. Ichigo said, "Nope, you hit it right on the head. That's how it works, and since you have a seat here you can't be my successor, so that means that it had to go to the closest relative that I have that doesn't have a compromising office, which is why the girl you're going to marry is the one who would be next in line." Naruto waited a moment and said, "I requested Tazuna to have you all help finish this bridge today before sunset. As you can see the sun is setting now. I have always loved the color orange because they remind me of sunrises and sunsets. Beginnings and ends. Today marks an ending of an era for the people of Wave. Today we free ourselves from ever being controlled like Gato did our country. Tomorrow at sunrise a new day dawns for our country. I know this is not a decision to be made lightly and will affect us for the rest of your lives. I am not asking you to do what I want you to do. I want you all to talk amongst yourselves over the next week and make a decision. I will then respect that decision. I will send a message to the Lord of Water and inform him about the offer from Lightning Country as well during that time, and inform him I am waiting for your answer to proceed however you want. If he agrees and the Lightning delegates agree and then you all agree, in a little over a week we will be witnesses to a historic event. The birth of a new country. I hereby declare the Great Naruto Bridge open, and the future and fate of our country is in your hands, my people." As the sun set behind him and the people cheered though the mood was subdued. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.